How sophisticated are these BIM models that the industry creates?
I think there's, I mean, from what we see, is it's all over the map. It's kind of the
Yeah.
wild. It's kind of the Wild West when it comes to how well a firm is pursuing the use of Revit and the application of BIM in a meaningful way. I mean, there's firms that just say, you know what, it's just another production tool, and it's primarily used to crank out documents, and so model quality is, you know, not really a concern. But then you do have firms that are taking the model side really seriously and trying to implement ways of using the model long term, and then there are, you know, firms that haven't even touched Revit, and aren't really even, and it's probably a surprising number of firms that haven't even gone into the BIM conversation that we, you know, very rarely talk about, I think, when we talk about technology. And so it's all over the map, right? It's like, I would say it's wide adoption of the tools when it comes to like BIM. Revit's very widely adopted, but very inconsistently adopted.
Yeah, it's deployed completely differently from firm to firm, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's good for firms to have a culture that plays to their strength. But still, there's you know, there's definitely people sabotaging themselves with the way that they resist certain implementations. There's a lot of issues.
You know, in that context, I think it becomes very interesting then to talk about computational design in that same light, because here you have almost a completely different tool and a completely different use case. There's no, computational design makes no claim that you're cranking out documents. You know, there's no dialogue around that, and jumps right into the designing of algorithms, which and the design of processes, which I think in, you know, firm to firm is still the Wild West. But it's interesting to think about how, in your case, how a firm like HDR, who's making these moves, as you say, when you first joined them, making these moves to work towards design, looked at computation and were like, you know what, this is something that we really need to get on.